So Eurobasket, or the European Basketball Championship, is a big deal. It is whoever wins immediately qualifies for the 2026 World Cup next year. And the Golden State Valkyries particularly had a lot of players take a break from playing in the W to go play in that European Championship, including Julie Vanloo, who plays for Belgium. This is part of their contract, very normal. Julie Vanloo goes to Europe, and Belgium casually wins the whole tournament. Meanwhile, stateside, the Golden State Valkyries, without Julie Vanloo, are having a very successful period of games.
This, in what is the most ruthless move a WNBA team has made this year. In what is the single most ruthless move a team has made, what the Valkyries did with Julie Vanloo is mental. It is absolutely mental.
Basically, Vanloo went overseas to play in a Euro tournament for Belgium, right? And basically ended up winning with Emma. And instead of celebrating and being with her fans and family, she tried to hurry up and rush back to the Valkyries. So she got right on the flight, skipped the celebration, and midair, not even landing just yet, heard the news that she was waived from the Valkyries, man.
Like, they waived her while she was on a plane. Not only that, her team, like Belgium, the Belgian national team had a whole bunch of celebrations. They had a whole bunch of celebrations for winning Eurobasket. So she won an international competition with Belgium, which is bigger than any WNBA championship. For them, anyway. For her, it's bigger than winning a WNBA championship. She won. And not only that, they won it in a historic comeback. Spain were up 12 points with 3 minutes to go.
Tough business. Man, some nasty work there. And I get it. It's a business. You have to do what you have to do. But fam, you couldn't even allow her to get back to the facility. You couldn't even allow her to touch down in the bay before you let her go. My goodness, fam. I mean, have a heart. Where's the 5 heartbeats when you need them, man? Oh my goodness.
The WNBA is unraveling right before our very eyes. And Commissioner Cathy Engelbert is reportedly just standing there, watching the chaos unfold as if she's a casual bystander and not the person in charge. This was supposed to be the golden era, the dawn of the Caitlin Clark revolution, where TV ratings soared, arenas filled to the rafters, and the league finally ascended to the mainstream prominence it has craved for decades. But instead of safeguarding that precious, hard-won momentum, the league and its franchises are green-lighting some of the most cold-blooded, tone-deaf, and downright disrespectful decisions imaginable. This isn't just simple mismanagement, folks. For a growing and increasingly vocal number of fans, this looks and feels like sabotage. Fans who once brought unparalleled energy and passion are now so disgusted, they're threatening to walk away entirely. Because when a league won't protect its biggest, most valuable asset, why should anyone stick around to support the inevitable, ugly fallout?
Oh, Vanloo got cut.
As soon as she stepped off the plane, bro.
For real? Shut up. It's like when stuff like this happen, bro, it really sink in, like, bro, this really a business though at the end of the day. Like, you feel me? Like, this really a business. Like, and you gotta treat it as such, bro. Like, you can't really, you gotta get out your feelings, bro.
That's why it's hard to get comfortable anywhere though.
Nah, that's
you don't
facts.
know. You don't never know.
You literally, and you always gotta stay on your P's and Q's, cause at the end of the day, like, you got a job just like somebody else got a job, just like somebody else got a job.
Let's break down the latest and perhaps most heartless incident that has sent shockwaves through the sports world. The case of Julie Vanloo and the Golden State Valkyries. This isn't just a poor front office move. This is pure, unadulterated heartlessness, disguised as a business decision. Vanloo had just come off a career-defining moment, a storybook triumph. She was a key engine in leading the Belgian national team to a historic Eurobasket championship, the absolute pinnacle of European women's basketball. She earned all-tournament second-team honors, living out a dream on the global stage. And how does the WNBA, the league she was committed to, reward her for this incredible achievement? By showing her the door doesn't even begin to cover the sheer
celebration in the
cruelty of
parade,
it.
and Julie posted on her story the video they played of her because she couldn't be there because she was flying back to the States, and she said, "I love you, Belgium. I wish I was there." She posts that she made it to the States, back in Fog City, a heart around the arena. And then the next post is that she's been cut from the team. Literally just touched down in the Bay, need to kind of process all of this and put my feelings into words. I can't right now, with some heartbreaking emojis. So why would they do this? Business is business. I'm not really talking about cutting her. The decision they made is the decision they made. They feel like they can move forward without her on the team, but why let her come all the way back to the States before letting her know? And the answer appears to be, from what I've seen from a couple different people online, that if the Valkyries had cut her when she was in Europe, she would have lost her work visa and not been able to make it back to the States. But when they cut her when she's stateside, she has a bubble of time to still have that work visa and hopefully be picked up by another team. And while that technically makes sense, it's very obvious from these stories that she wasn't told that before she got here. You think?
This is where we need to talk about Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, because this disaster happened on her watch.
Fresh off this emotional, exhausting, once-in-a-lifetime victory, Vanloo chose duty over joy. She left the victory parade behind. She skipped the champagne celebrations, the confetti, the adoration of her home country, all to honor her commitment to the WNBA and the Golden State Valkyries. She boarded one of the longest flights on Earth, drained, sore, and sleep-deprived, just to make it back to her team in time. Why? Because she believed she had a team worth coming back to, a spot in the WNBA that was secure. 18 hours later, she touched down in San Francisco, expecting a locker room, her teammates, and a jersey waiting for her. What she got instead was a cold, hard shoulder and a contract termination. Tough business, man. Some nasty work there.
The way Julie Vanloo was done, she literally left Euroball immediately after her win and got on a plane back to the Bay Area and was talking about her travel plans on her Instagram story. And literally had just touched down in the Bay when they posted about her being waived. And so I'm curious to get an understanding as to how someone is literally flying from Europe back to America and you tell them that they're being waived when they get here. I understand that this was bound to happen based off of players going, coming, so on and so forth, but I think the way we're going about it is not very humanly. And maybe these players understand just based off of how the WNBA is, but it's just very interesting that the Valkyries are going at it about this way.
Here's the part of the story that should make every single person, fan or not, absolutely sick to their stomach. Julie Vanloo didn't find out she was being released through a respectful phone call from management before her long flight. She wasn't pulled aside for a difficult but dignified conversation upon her arrival. She didn't even get the courtesy of a simple text message. Number. She reportedly found out on social media, just as she landed. Vanloo posted on Instagram, her words heavy with shock and disbelief. Literally just touched down in the Bay? I need some time to process all of this and put my feelings into words. I can't right now. That's not the reaction of someone who saw this coming. That's the raw, unfiltered reaction of someone whose world just got turned upside down while she was probably still standing in an airport terminal, likely still wearing the clothes she flew in.
Until you get off that plane, you have not technically entered the country. You have not technically entered the country until you set foot off that plane. Until you get through immigration. So if it's a visa thing, if it was like, oh, you know, her visa's been cancelled, I don't think there's pre-clearance wherever she was coming from. She had to go through immigration anyway. So the reality is, she probably lost the visa anyway. If she was going to lose the visa, if they had to cut her before she left, they cut her before she got into the country. So, like, it makes no difference then.
The Valkyries and their defenders will likely hide behind the flimsy excuse of roster limits and tough business decisions. The WNBA only allows 12 players per team, a stark contrast to the NBA's 15. They'll claim their hands were tied. But here's the thing. They knew this situation was coming. They knew Vanloo and other European players would be leaving for Eurobasket. They knew the tournament schedule. They had months upon months to figure out how to handle this situation with a shred of respect and basic human decency. Instead, they chose the most callous, most heartless, most publicly humiliating approach possible. They let Julie Vanloo sacrifice her own championship celebration. They let her spend 18 grueling hours on a plane, filled with anticipation and loyalty, thinking she was coming home to her team. And then they blindsided her with a social media announcement. There's an argument that they waited for her to land stateside so she wouldn't lose her work visa.
We knew after the win against the Storm on Sunday that the Valkyries were going to need to create 3 roster spots for Julie Vanloo, Janelle Salon, and Cecilia Zandalicini. However, they decided to go in a different direction and waive Julie Vanloo. Obviously, nothing against Vanloo. She's a great player, a fan favorite inside of Valhalla. But they were giving important minutes to Caitlin Chin, and you could see the coaching staff give her more and more of a role on this team. And when you're thinking about the moves that the Valkyries have to make, they're not looking just for this year, but for the future of their franchise. And Caitlin Chin is able to offer a couple things that Julie Vanloo might not, in terms of how many years she's going to play in the WNBA and how they can mold her.
This is where we need to talk about Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, because this absolute disaster happened directly on her watch. This is the woman who is supposed to be protecting the integrity of the league, who's supposed to ensure that players, the league's most valuable assets, are treated with a baseline of human decency. And yet, she was conspicuously silent, nowhere to be found, as one of her international players was being publicly demolished by her own team. Engelbert has been commissioner since 2019, and she has overseen a period of unprecedented growth, thanks almost entirely to the arrival of Caitlin Clark. When Clark plays, WNBA games average nearly 2 million viewers. When she doesn't, that number plummets by a devastating 53%. So here's the burning question. If you're running a league that is so utterly, completely dependent on fan engagement and public perception, how—
She was on a plane. Like, first of all, no one wants to get on a 12-hour flight. No one wants to get on a 12-hour flight. If she's going to get picked up by the Chicago Sky or something, that becomes an 8 or 9 hour flight. Like, the Bay Area were all about loyalty, period. Like, sticking with Chen, I mean, Caitlin Chen played one good game, I guess. But it's the timing, manners, communicate, reflects badly in reputation. Future players will think twice.
The Julie Vanloo situation, as horrifying as it is, doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's symptomatic of a much larger, more troubling issue within the WNBA, a league that has consistently struggled with how it treats its marquee players, especially Caitlin Clark. The controversy around the physical, often dirty, play Clark has endured during her rookie season is well documented. She's been treated like a human punching bag, while referees often stand by and watch. She was famously poked in the eye, then shoved to the ground by Marina Mabrey, and somehow, the officials managed to give Clark a technical foul for her unsportsmanlike reaction to being assaulted. It's this kind of backwards justice that has fans screaming at their TVs, and now, apparently, players considering legal action.
You know what I'm saying? Now, everybody in the chat be trying to fire you every week. Not me. Mine's kind of like once a season. You know what I mean? Because I understand it's hard to run a business. I also
because actually she needs to have a sit-down discussion with those officials as well, because it's not consistent. And I want to figure out the challenges, the reviews is taking 5 and 8 and 10 minutes, and it was simply never that serious. It's time to put your big girl panties on, Cathy. It's time to put your big girl panties on and have some real conversations. You need to sit down with them scheduling people next year, because I'm tired of watching the Misses versus Liberty, because I'm actually trying to figure out why exactly y'all don't even give them a chance to get better. At least if you had scheduled Liberty Misses 1 month and then, you know, the next month and the next month, that's fine. But y'all don't even give the Misses a chance to rest. They don't even have a chance to get their game plan together. They just got beat and then they had to go back and do it again 2 days later. That's messed up.
The fan reaction to Cunningham's protective stance has been nothing short of explosive, revealing just how desperate people are for someone, anyone, to stand up for Clark. But what's even more concerning are Cunningham's own recent comments suggesting deep fractures within the Indiana Fever locker room itself. She spoke of players being on different islands, a clear admission of the turmoil many have suspected. This isn't just about on-court strategy. It's about a potential civil war brewing, where half the team looks like they'd rather be benched than pass Clark the ball. The system is a mess. The coaching has been questioned, and now it seems the locker room chemistry is imploding. It's like handing Einstein a single crayon and locking him in a chaotic toddler classroom.
Chelsea Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. Boston so far this year has been having a spectacular season. Her efficiency is up. Also, just in, like, the domination in the paint is crazy. I think her going against one of the best bigs in the league right now and the possible MVP candidate for the year with Nafisa, I think that's going to be a very exciting matchup to watch. I think the big question for the Fever is who's going to step up besides those two. They're definitely going to need contributions off the bench. Looking at Minnesota, Minnesota has a great bench.
It's about the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. I ain't know Kathy, baby. We're on the same page. You say broke bitches ain't allowed no more. Come on now. Don't make me put on this damn New York dress.
Now, on one side, I can see how the Valkyries wanted to keep everything the same, especially right now with how well they've been doing. But at the same time, to cut her when she just won Eurobasket, there's an easier way to do that. And I get everything is a business, but that had to feel like a complete blindside for her. And the fact that she came home too, they could have at least told her before she flew back that she was waived so that she can just take time with her family, also celebrate Eurobasket and do all of that. But unfortunately that didn't happen, so I'm a little disappointed in the Valkyries for that. And again, I understand it's a business, but she definitely didn't deserve that.
This is a league that has consistently shot itself in the foot just when things are finally going well. They finally have mainstream attention. They finally have television deals worth real money. They finally have fans who are passionate, engaged, and willing to spend. And then they allow stories like Julie Vanloo's to happen. Stories that remind everyone that underneath all the recent growth and polished excitement, this is still a league that often treats its players like they should just be grateful for the scraps. The fallout from this is going to be significant. European players are going to think twice about committing to a WNBA team if this is the kind of cold, heartless treatment they might receive. And the fans? The very fans who have driven the WNBA to these unprecedented heights of popularity. They're going to remember that when the league had a clear choice between doing the right, decent thing and taking the easy, callous way out, they chose cruelty. Commissioner Engelbert needs to put her big girl panties on, as one commentator colorfully suggested, and have some real, tough conversations. Because at the end of the day, this all comes back to leadership. Growth built on a foundation of disrespect and poor player treatment is growth that can and will collapse overnight. The Caitlin Clark effect might have saved the WNBA from irrelevance, but stories like what happened to Julie Vanloo could just as easily send it right back into the shadows. The choice is theirs, but the consequences of inaction are becoming clearer and more damaging with every passing game.